Good afternoon and welcome to the September edition of the Marks Group GoldMine Tips and Tricks webinar. We put on these tips and tricks webinars once a month. You can always visit our tips and tricks from ages past by going to www.marksgroup.net. Let's jump right into it today. Let's try to fix that focus if we can. My webcam is potato. I apologize for that. A little better. What are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about user interface enhancements today. How to make GoldMine your own little happy little playground. How are we going to do that? We're going to hide those unused tabs. We're going to stop them from confusing new users. We're going to just get them out of your way. And we can do this on a per user or a per installation basis. Very cool stuff. We're going to be hiding some unused menu items. Again, we want to be able to kind of slim down what GoldMine is offering to us, more specifically the beginning end user, kind of make it a lot easier on the entire world if we're able to hide some of those unused menu items. And we're going to be modifying our toolbar. I know, it's so exciting, I can't even stand it. I mean, I'm just levitating off of my chair at the moment. But this is actually very cool stuff. Modifying your toolbar is really going to help you save on clicks per day. And if you're doing something 1,000 times a day, this is really going to kind of pay off in the long run. A little bit more of my coffee. Coffee's empty. Oh my God. Okay, let's go ahead and throw caution to the wind. There we go. Aha, hiding unused tabs. You'll notice here I only have 4 tabs displayed in my GoldMine. How did I do that? There are a couple of different ways to get there from here. I guess I want to talk a little bit about why you'd want to do this. Because GoldMine comes out of the box turned all the way up and all the way on, right? So you get all of the wrong window, Justin. You get all of the menu items revealed. You get all of the tabs revealed, so on and so forth. One of the easiest things to do, especially for the new GoldMine user, is to hide the unused tabs. And what I mean by unused is not that you're going to not use it someday. We're just not concerned about it right now. We're going to modify our tools options or our user preferences. In the good old days, this used to be found under Edit Preferences. Now it's under Tools Options. Makes a lot more sense, I think. And of course, what we have here are good old user options. These options are just for us, so we can feel relatively free and kind of playing around with this stuff, screwing it up. I'm a big fan of breaking stuff because I don't usually understand things until I break it. So feel free to kind of poke around in here and maybe break it just a little bit. Okay, so what are we looking to do? We're looking to hide some tabs. So we're going to go on over to this record tab. A lot of things to play with here. We can, okay, before we get into modifying the tabs, let's just talk briefly about some other stuff that is here. We can change things like the contact window title. We can make this the contact or the company. I prefer contact. I don't necessarily remember company names like I do people's names, much to my controller's chagrin, I'm here to tell you. So I like to have the contact here on the contact window title. We can do things like select the contents of fields or not. When I click into a field, what this does for us is that when I click into a field, that will auto-select or highlight the value in that field. And what that does is that makes it really easy for me to copy things out of a GoldMine field. Let's back up. I want to just show you this because this is one of the best kept secrets in GoldMine. If you don't have this turned on and you find yourself doing a lot of copy pasting out of GoldMine, you really got to get this on. This is good stuff. So what we do here with that on, that select contents of fields is on, when I click in a field, it automatically highlights the contents of that field. Now that allows me to just Control C, Control C to copy that, and now I can paste it other places, right? Very handy. I do a lot of copy pasting out of GoldMine, unfortunately. go ahead and down options again. Over to the record tab again. There is a large font here. I kind of vacillate between whether or not I like the large font. Some days, I guess my eyes feel pretty bad. Other days, my eyes don't. Feel free to change this or try this out. I think you need to restart your GoldMine to get that change. The large font can really help you kind of like see what's going on. But again, if you have a very complex layout up here, like if you've had someone come in and really like create like 1,000 fields up here, if the contact record is very dense, let's say, the large font could push some things off of the screen, so it may not have the intended effect. Let's go ahead and move on to what we're trying to do here. We're trying to modify our tabs. So we go to this tabs button here. Again, there's tools, options, record, tabs. And what we have here is a list of all of our nasty tabs, our nasty GoldMine tabs. And what we're able to do here, as you might imagine, is to click them on or off. And this is just for us. Now, if you have master user rights, you are able to customize globally, which means, as you might expect, this change will be pushed out to all of the other users in the universe. So use with care. I do see problems with this in the field. I see issues where after tabs have been customized globally using this checkbox, I've seen issues where single users can no longer see certain tabs in this list. So just be aware. I mean, unless you've got 75 or 50 users, I really wouldn't worry too much about customizing that globally. I would actually rather, in my humble opinion, I would rather let the end users pick and choose what tabs they want for themselves. You know, give them that illusion of control over their own lives before they're just crushed into dust by their workday. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I digress. At any rate, what we want to do is check or not check tabs we want to reveal and or hide. You might see some tabs in here that have names which you don't recognize, like the special tab. We'll get to that in just a moment. But in this case, let's go ahead. Oh, can we remove them all? I wonder what GoldMine will do. Will it crap itself? Bear with me. I can't wait to see this. I never tried to do this. Oh no, it needs to have a tab. It needs to have a tab. Let's go back into tools options. That's interesting. So moral of the story, you got to have some tabs available, right? Okay, so the big three is going to be summary, pending, and history. Let's see if we can't get that to work. Okay, very good. Oh, look at that. File not found. An index.html. Sounds broken to me. We'll fix that someday. My tips today, we'll just close that. Okay, so what we have here are 3 simple tabs. This is like the terrible tripod of the GoldMine universe. You have summary, who the person is, because you're always like finding the guy, right? We always got to find that guy, because whatever we do in GoldMine is going to happen to that guy that we're looking at right now. So we have the summary, we have the pending, and the history. So we have pending in the future and history in the past. Do yourselves a huge favor. Start completing your histories. Pending is not where they belong. History is where they want to go, right? So this is really kind of where we're going to start with the whole GoldMine paradigm universe superhero thingy or whatever. And what I would recommend is that we start here and you educate the end users about using just your pending and your history, looking at the summary tab, understanding here we can see, who was the last person to touch this record, who was the person to create it, when was the last contact and last attempt. You know that as we complete or schedule items against this contact record, these fields over here kind of fill themselves in, right? So my previous result happened to be a sale. My next step was private. Oh my God, sounds scandalous. I can't wait to see what that is. At any rate, this is a nice way to kind of slim down the intensity of the GoldMine interface, especially for the beginning end user. A couple other tabs that I might recommend that we add. Back to Tools, Options, Record. Record. There we go. Back to tabs. I'm going to recommend that we have our Fields tab enabled. Those are going to be our user-defined fields. And as confusing as they might be sometimes, we want the end user to be comfortable with handling that field view. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Come on, baby. There we go. So our Fields tab, as most of you know, is going to be where our user-defined fields, oh, this is kind of screwed up, exist. And the way we use our Fields tab is we right-click and we select a different field view. You see, you have my training view, my pipeline view, or my special fields view, or my end user screen, which is kind of comes out of the can, so to speak, with GoldMine. So we do want the end users to understand that this Fields tab is actually showing us, or potentially showing us, more than one thing, more than one field view, or screen view is what it's called in GoldMine here. And if I select in this case, my special field, actually, let's select the end user screen, the good old end user screen. We love it. What we're able to do here is that if we right click and we go into our screens setup, not our screen design, which is going to allow us to move fields around the contact record, we want to go to screens setup, and this shows us all of our right click screen views, right? All of our right click items that we can get to in the Fields tab. And what we're able to do on a per screen basis, if we go into properties, we can give this tab, this field view, its own special tab name. So this is going to be not the end user screen. This is going to be extra info, or important, because it's important. It's all important. So our tab name can then be important. Now, how do we get that tab name to show as a tab down here? Well, now that I've named that screen view into a tab name, I can go back to Tools, Options, back to Record, back to Tabs, and now I have an important view. I love it. Everything's important. Every meal is a feast, and every day is a holiday. Oh, here we go. Log back into GoldMine. Now we have an important tab. And this actually, all humor aside, this isn't a bad idea to name a tab important. That way we know stuff is supposed to go in there, right? One of the biggest problems I see in the field across almost all clients is that people don't always understand where stuff is supposed to go, or why stuff is supposed to go there, or should stuff go there. So what you see is a lot of GoldMine records out there that are just really incomplete. It's very rare for me to see a client or a GoldMine client of ours absolutely nail down and screw down as far as what should go in their GoldMine record. I see a lot of new implementations that have that plan. People kind of start out that way, like when you go back to school in September, you have a brand new Trapper Keeper, and I'm kind of dating myself, right? And brand new set of pens and shoes, and you feel all excited about school. Only kind of lasts a month, right? Then you're kind of blowing off your homework all over again. I kind of see the same thing in GoldMine implementations. There's good intentions. The ideas kind of get people excited, and we're going to put things into fields, and it's all going to be important. And then I kind of see it not really be followed all the way through. So naming a tab for what it should be isn't a bad idea. So now this is kind of redundant. I have both the Fields tab and the Important tab. Let's go ahead and, because I'm an end user and I'm easily frightened and startled, I'm going to go back to my tabs. I'm going to actually undo my Fields tab, or take that Fields tab away. So now I should just have Summary, Pending, History, and Important. So important. There it is. Very good. And certainly, if you want, you can click drag to move these tabs around. So maybe the important stuff should come first, or maybe it should come last. Come one, come all. It's all important in GoldMine, right? Good. Excellent. Okay, let us move right on, hopefully. Yeah. We're going to hide some unused menu items. That's what I hope that says. I can't see my caption today. Hiding menu items is one of the most important things I think that you can do in GoldMine. More important than modifying your tabs and more important than modifying your toolbar, because this stuff right here, this terrible, terrible, terrible menu, it has to go out. Out, I say, with the GoldMine menu. Get it out of here, because it's it's terrible. It is a nightmare. Why do I say it's a nightmare? Because it confuses people, and it starts to screw up one of the legs of the terrible tripod of GoldMine, which is who we are, what we're doing, and what we have done. That's summary, pending, and history. This screws up the completion of history, and history is like, oh, it's so important. It's very important. It's like this tab here. History is very important. So when an end user goes to, well, oh no! Oh my God! There we go. So when an end user goes to make a phone call, like an incidental phone call, I'm going to call a client, tell this client a thing, and I want to record this stuff in my GoldMine because it's important. What does the end user do? They go to their complete menu, and out of the box they have 1,000 things to choose from here. Not always really obvious what the end user should select. So what I see a lot of is end users waffling around this menu. Well, what did I just do? Is it a next action? Is it a call? I guess a call is a bad example, because a call is relatively obvious, right? I'm on the phone, it's a call, I call the guy. But what if you're making a sales appointment? What if the sales appointment isn't an appointment? What if it's a phone appointment? So what do I use? Do I use appointment or do I use call? Is it an outgoing call? Is it an incoming call? Is it talking about me? Am I the outgoing call, or is the client the outgoing call? This might sound crazy to you, but I see a lot of new GoldMine users really get caught up in this complete menu. And the worst part about it is that they just, screw it. They just get out with it. And they just get on with their day, and they figure they'll add a note later, which is like, oh, it's terrible. Don't add notes in GoldMine. Add histories. So what we want to do is we want to make this really easy for the end user to kind of modify, or not modify. This is one of the things we actually don't want the end user to modify on their own. This is something we want to do for them, is the master user. But we're going to slim this menu down, because even though all histories are kind of the same, like, for example, my next action, if I go to complete that, and my appointment are essentially interchangeable, right? Same thing with call. But when I select things like sale, or a to-do, or an other, those are a little different. They behave a little differently in GoldMine. So what we want to do is we want to modify that end user's menu tree. We're going to do that under Tools, User Settings. This is something we have to have master rights to do. We can't, or shouldn't be able to play with this stuff as a brand new user. So what we want to do now is we want to find the user in question. This is going to be interesting because I have master rights, and I'm not sure if master rights trump modifications to the toolbar, to the menu item tree. Let's find out. I'm logged in as the master. Let's modify my master. And where you're headed to is this menu tab. And on the menu tab, what we have is a menu tree, which mimics, mimics is a good word, the menu item here at the top. So what we're able to do, as you might imagine, is turn menu items on and off. So the first place we're headed to, the first place. Oh, that complete menu. Oh, it is a mess. Let's get out of here and back to properties, back to menu. Here we go. So my complete menu. Oh, out. No to-dos, no events, No other actions, no sales. Sales, trust me, I rarely see sales completed in GoldMine in this way, and that's kind of something you want to look at in the future. You don't want people putting sales willy-nilly in there. Or you may. Who can know? Take away message, take away scheduled call. It's kind of weird because if the call is scheduled, you're already right-clicking on it within the pending tab or off of your record. So I kind of like to take this away. And my unscheduled call, let's, I guess, leave that there, even though that can be a little confusing. And how does that look? I'm going to log back into GoldMine. Just restart it. Somehow I think, because I'm the master. Yeah, I can't take that away because I'm the master. Let's do this. Let's do this, guys. Let's find a user. Dudley Do Right. There we go. Dudley is super duper locked down. Okay, so I guess the moral of the story is if you have master rights, by which I mean, oh, again, we have to log back into GoldMine as a master user. If you have master rights trump almost every access permission that you can revoke. So what I see, and this is kind of like a sidebar, what I see a lot of in the world is under this user settings and under the user properties, I see a lot of people with master rights even though they don't necessarily need them. And the reason for this historically has been in order to make GoldMine work properly for human beings, typically master rights had to be checked. It was the way of the world, man. And because what happened was that without master rights, people couldn't do simple things like maybe people got confused about deleting things, or I couldn't delete something, or I couldn't complete something, or I couldn't do a little thing. And instead of trying to take the time to figure out why I couldn't do that little thing in GoldMine, people would just get master rights. There you go. And there's your admin rights. Go ahead and format the C drive, why don't you? So that was a way to kind of fix the occasional little hiccup or guffaw in GoldMine. I find it very amusing. So again, master rights will actually trump. So with master rights on, you can take away all you want. It won't matter, though those menu items will still be there. However, for Dudley, that poor guy, oh, that poor guy, his master rights are not in effect. So now we're going to go into his menu, under properties, menu, under complete. I think he has most of his stuff already taken, yeah. Take away that scheduled call. You know what? Dudley is working the call center this week. He's only in charge of phone calls. We're going to take everything away other than phone calls. You'll notice here that I can save my menu template, as you might expect. You can apply that to other GoldMine users. We'll save this as Dudley's Hell. Because let's face it, Dudley is a poor bastard. Now we can log back into GoldMine. Dudley. And my complete menu should be super simple. It should be very obvious what I should be doing here. There we go. We can do an outgoing or an incoming call. That is it, sir. That is your day. So you get the idea, right? So we're able to kind of slim down this top-level menu. I would actually really recommend doing this before GoldMine is even deployed to the workstation. Just take almost everything away. Because, well, two kinds of users in the world, right? There's the user that will never poke around and will never play with that stuff up there. And there's the other kind of user that will go around and they will poke everything with a stick. Out of those two, the one that doesn't want to poke around is probably the most dangerous because they're the ones that are not going to complete history. Because when they go to their complete menu up here, they're going to get confused as to what I should be completing. When is an appointment an appointment? What is an event? What is it to do? What is a lit request? How do I complete that sale? What do I put in the quantity? What is the dollar amount? Is it a marked up dollar amount? So there's all kinds of questions that people screw themselves up with internally, and just it's a terrible existence. It's a fearful, frightening, terrible existence when you don't know what menu item to pick in GoldMine. So do all of your employees a favor and slim that down. Give them less to choose from. The world is a much happier place that way. Sad but true. One final thing today. If I can get my caption to display it. Oh, modifying my toolbar. This is one of the best kept secrets in GoldMine. This toolbar up here. I like the old style toolbar. The one that was around with, say, GoldMine 6, 7. It had a different look. It wasn't so wordy. Although I'm pretty sure there is a way to kind of turn those words off or make them different. What I want to show you today is how to add menu items to your toolbar. So if I'm always going to schedule appointment, let's say I'm the dispatcher for a fine establishment running a fine GoldMine, and I'm in charge of scheduling appointments for people, and I'm always going to schedule appointment. That's my life. Instead of doing that, I can add that item to my menu bar. Really easy. Find the little down arrow over here. You see the little down arrow? We all know what that means, right? We all know that the little down arrow means I'm going to be able to modify that toolbar. So I want to modify. Oops. There are some standard items here. Mostly useless. Let me repeat that. Mostly useless or broken. I digress. What we want to do is we want to go to this customize. To the customization, and more importantly, to the commands tab. Ooh, this looks familiar, right? What you're seeing here is the top level GoldMine menu tree. So what we're able to do is we're able to add single menu items to our toolbar as one-click, one-stop shops. So when I go to my schedule menu here, I can take my appointment item and I can drag it. Click, drag it is the way to do it. Just clicking on this thing doesn't really do anything. Doesn't do a thing. You want to click, drag it up to your toolbar. You'll notice here that I get all kinds of, like, wow! I didn't know I could do that. Look at that. That is amazing. I can put it, like, actually on the... You learn something new every day, I guess. Looks like you can not only throw it there on the toolbar itself, but also in the menu, which is interesting to think. Wow, that's kind of neat. So I can actually hide that toolbar altogether and just give people simple menu items to choose from up there. At any rate, you get the idea that I click, drag an item from here to there. Can I have the same thing multiple times? Yeah, I guess. You know, we have a saying, GoldMine's clever, but it's not too bright. This is an illustration of that. Ooh, look at that. I get a double toolbar. See, I'm learning all sorts of new stuff. I'm sorry to sound so stupidly excited, but I didn't know we could do that. So actually what we're able to do here is, oh, all right. We're able to load that menu item up for reals. So now when I go to complete that appointment or actually schedule that appointment, all I have to do as the dispatcher is single click my appointment toolbar button. And that's it. And I can get on with my life. We are unfortunately out of time. I have to make room for the next batch of kids coming through. So please, if you would, I'm dying to know what you guys would like to see in tips and tricks. So please reach out to me at justin@marksgroup.net. Thanks so much for joining us and have a beautiful day.